or even days. A familiar example including a rain, snowfall, a cloud movement, and wind, floods or thunderstorm coming under the category of weather. The next one is the climate. It's refers to the long term, usually at least minimum of 30 years, a regional or even global average of a temperature, humidity, and rainfall pattern over season, years, or a decade called as a climate. See, this graph illustrates the changes in global surface temperature relative to 1951 to 1980, the average temperature, with the year 2020 statistically tying with the 2016 for hottest on record. So there are many factors involved in the climate changes. The majorly it is called as a natural causes and anthropogenic causes. First, we are going to look at the natural causes. The major natural cause is the volcanic activity, because the volcanic eruption emits a carbon dioxide and ash. It will contributing to the atmospheric changes that can temporarily cool or warm the planet Earth. Also, the other natural cause including an Earth orbital changes like a eccentricity, axial tilt, and precision alter solar radiations. These phase influences a long-term climate pattern over a thousands of years. Okay, then we'll come to the anthropogenic causes. Anthropogenic causes means it is a human-made, a man-made cause. The first thing is industrial revolution. Starting around 1850 AD, human activity significantly elevated the greenhouse gases concentrations, accelerating climate change. So it leads to the pollution. So the industrial process and deforestation released harmful substances into the atmosphere, which impact a climate pattern over the time. Because of the pollution, the greenhouse gas emission increased during the period, like methane enhance the greenhouse effect, leading to the global temperature rise. Hmm. So these pictures shows how the greenhouse gases are working together in our atmosphere. In step one, the solar radiations always reaches to the Earth atmosphere. Some of the radiation will reflect back into the space. In step two, the rest of the sun's energy is absorbed by the land and the oceans, heating the Earth. In step three, the heat radiation from the Earth, it will reflected towards the space. In step 4, some of the heat is trapped by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, keeping the earth warm enough to sustain life. But the increased emission of greenhouse gases because of the industrial and deforestation activity, even burning of fossil fuels, agriculture and land clearing are increasing the amount of greenhouse gases. So it will directly reflecting the heating of the our plant. So this trapping extra heat causing earth temperature to rise. So this is the difference between pre-industrial period and post-industrial period. Hmm. Also, the greenhouse gases are very essential for existence of life on our planet Earth. In the absence of greenhouse gases, the average temperature of Earth's surface would have been minus 18 degrees Celsius. So it will absorb the solar radiation and it will keep the Earth warm. Also, it is preventing Earth become the cold planet. But in the other hand, the excess concentration of greenhouse gases leads to the global warming. So the Earth became hot planet, especially carbon dioxide, methane increased by 40% and 150% respectively since the pre-industrial period before 1850. Okay, then we'll go to the next topic, global warming. So what is global warming? The global warming is defined as a gradual increase in the overall temperature of the Earth atmosphere, generally attributed to the greenhouse effect caused by increased level of carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbon, and other pollutant like greenhouse gases, methane. The main source of greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, are mainly emitted from the burning of a fossil fuel like coal, petrol, diesel in the industries and the automobile. A methane mainly emitted from the decomposition of organic waste in the landfills and agriculture fields as a result of anaerobic digestion. The next one is the nitrous oxide, mainly emitted from the combustion of coal and petrol, sewage, wastewater, and fertilizer treatment unit. Then next one is the ozone, mainly produced due to the chemical reaction of volatile organic compounds such as benzene, ethanol, etc. Used mainly in a paint spray in the troposphere. Even water vapor considered as the greenhouse gas. It is produced mainly as a result of evaporation of water during the water cycle. And next one is the chlorofluorocarbon, emitted mainly due to the use of coolant in a refrigerator and air cooler, and hydrofluorocarbon emitted by the product of use in the air conditioner and aerosol. So the top greenhouse gas emitter in the globe are China, European Union, and United States. So they are holding more than 50% of the total emission of greenhouse gas entire globe. So sector wise, the release of greenhouse gases or electricity and energy generation will emit nearly 31%, and transportation nearly 15%, and manufacturing 12%, agriculture 11%, and forestry 6%. Also, this table shows the contribution in what are the greenhouse gases contributing global warming in the percentage, as well as the average residence at time in the atmosphere. For the example, carbon dioxide contributing a more global warming, it has a 76%. Also, the average residence at time in the atmosphere is 30 to 95 years. In methane, methane contribution is 16%, but average resident time is 12 years. Nitrous oxide is 6%, but the residence time is very higher, 114 years. Same for chlorofluorocarbon and hydrofluorocarbon, 2%, 2% each, and also it has the residence time of 45 years. Okay, we all should know about the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC). It is created in the 1988 by the World Meteorological Organization and United Nations Environment Program. The main objective of this IPCC is to provide a government at all level with the scientific information that they can use to develop a climate related policies. Also, they have mentioned the emission of g- greenhouse gases continue at the current pace. The average temperature of the Earth's surface are likely to rise by 1.5 degree Celsius between 2030 and 2052. Also, the rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius will leads to the many climate related risks for nature and mankind, like sea level rise due to the melting of ice caps and glaciers in Arctic and Antarctic. The next one is the submergence of low-lying islands, acidification of oceans, increase in the number and frequency of natural hazards. Also, it will be the results of vector-borne diseases like malaria, dengue, like that, and also decrease in agriculture productivity and negative impact on the economy. Okay, so we should know the impact of climate changes and global warming. So what will happen? The melting of polar ice caps and sea level rises. The accelerated melting of glaciers and ice in Arctic and Antarctic and consequently increase the average sea level of oceans. The sea level rise of just 1 meter will be sufficient enough to completely submerge the low-lying islands such as Maldives, Mauritius, Fiji, etc. Also, intensification of water cycle and increased frequency of floods, a cloudburst, cyclone, and typhoon, hurricane around the world. Loss of a glacier cover in the headwaters of major mountains leads to the reduced water flow in the rivers flowing from these mountains such as Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus. The next major impact is the loss of biodiversity. Global warming and climate change are one of the major causes of biodiversity loss all around the world, leading to the extinction and extermination of some species that are likely to suffer at the high risk, such as endemic species. Species found only a small restricted localities. The next one is a migratory species. The species that migrate a long distance from one place to other place. Alpine species. The species that are found on the top of the mountains. Specialist species. The species that are found only in one kind of climate. For the example, a penguin, a polar bears, a panda, snow leopard, a purple frog, a monarch butterfly, and a Himalayan yak, etc. So the climate change will impact on agriculture as well. The tropical biomass a decrease in the productivity and shifts in the cropping pattern. In temperate biomass, increasing agriculture productivity. So the uneven shift in the cropping pattern all over the world. For the example, India, the pattern of Rabi and Kharif seasons are likely to change by at least 1 month. Also, the climate change will impact the soil erosion, changes in growing season and cultivation, crop yielding, variability. So, water related effects like a soil, water, and irrigation. The climate change will impact on the human health also, like widespread proliferation of vector-borne disease such as malaria, dengue, yellow fever, etc. In the 2003 heat wave in France resulted approximately 15,000 human deaths. Also in economy, the multiple interrelated direct and indirect effects will be happen. Like based on the International Labour Organization, the climate change would leads to the loss of approximately 2.2% of working hours every year and 80 million f- full-time jobs and 2,400 billion dollar will be lost because of the climate change. Also, the rise in terms of health cost, infrastructure, insurance, and energy cost. So this map shows the economic impact of a climate change across the globe. Okay, the next is a ozone layer depletion. So we all know about ozone layer. Ozone layer is the protective layer in our atmosphere. It will uh, filter the harmful UV rays from the sun. So it is protecting that entire globe from the harmful UV rays. So ozone layer depletion refers to the process of a thinning of ozone layer in the stratosphere due to the presence of ozone and depleting substance. The ODS such as chlorofluorocarbon, halon, carbon tetrachloride, methyl bromide, and methyl chloroform is considered as ozone and depleting substances. The chlorofluorocarbon used in coolants, halon used in a fire retardant, and methyl bromide used in pesticides, methyl chloroform and carbon tetrachloride used as a industrial solvent. All ODS are releases either a chlorine or bromine and cause catalytic destruction of ozone in the stratosphere. The chlorine are released in the above process. That means a below process goes on to the break another molecule of ozone. Like this, one molecule of chlorine can destroy over 1 lakh molecule of ozone over a period of 50 years. The maximum ozone layer depletion occurs in Antarctica between September and November every year. The two important conditions favor the ozone depletion during the season. The first one is the presence of sunlight in polar regions. Second one, the development of circumpolar vortex. It is called moss cooled air around the southern polar region will cause the ozone and depletion. So we should know the effect of ozone and depletion. In health, the main concern, the increase in a level of UV radiation, and it will link to the skin cancer. It is also connected to eye damage, where corona, retina, and lens may be damaged. The next one is the vegetation. Inhibits the photosynthesis in plants and increase likelihood of disease. Some evidence are contradicted. The next one is the global warming. The large amount of UV radiation can kill a plankton found in ocean, which absorb carbon dioxide, thus increasing a rate of global warming. Also, it has other effects like places stress on a marine ecosystem, reduces the strength of wooden plastic products. Okay. The next one is the acid rain. Acid rain is defined as the rainfall with pH value of 5.6 or less due to the chemical reaction of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide with water vapor in the atmosphere. The main effect of acid rain is that it will damage the buildings and the infrastructure. Also, it will damage the aquatic ecosystem because it will alter the aquatic pH to the basic level. Also, it will damage the terrestrial ecosystem with altering the pH. Okay, now we'll move on to the international agreements and programs. The first one is Earth Summit. Earth Summit 1992 is also known as United Nations a Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED, commonly known as a Rio Summit, a Rio Conference. It was a major United Nations conference held in Rio de Janeiro from 3rd June to 14th June 1992. The Rio Declaration says the principles included the guide countries in the future sustainable development. So it gave the guide of future sustainable development to the all the countries. So we should know about the Agenda 21. So it is the non binding action plan of United Nations with regard to the sustainable development. The number 21 refers to an agenda for the 21st century. Also, it has the forest principles like a non-legally binding document on conservation and sustainable development of all type of forest. Also, It created a framework convention on climate changes during the Earth Summit. So now we are moving to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Changes is an international environmental treaty adopted in 9th May 1992 and opened for a signature at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro from 3rd to 14th June 1992. It will stabilizing greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere at a level that would prevent dangerous anthropogenic interference with the climate system. The next one is the Convention on Biological Diversity. It is a legally binding treaty which came as a outcome of Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro on 5th June 1992 and entered into the force on 29th December 1993. It is commonly known as a biodiversity convention. For the first time, it recognized that the conservation of a biological diversity is a common concern of humankind and is an integral part of the developmental process of all the countries. Also, it covers all ecosystem species and genetic resources. It aligns a traditional conservation effort to the economic goal of using a biological resource as sustainability. Also, it sets up principles for fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising from the use of a genetic resource, and notably those distincted from the commercial use. It also covers a rapidly expanding field of biotechnology, addressing technology development and transfer, benefit sharing, and biosafety. The next one is the Ramsar Convention. Ramsar Convention is the international treaty for conservation and sustainable use of wetland. It also known as Convention on Wetlands. It is named after the city Ramsar in Iran. The convention was signed on 2nd of February 1971. The 2nd of February each year is a World Wetland considered as a World Wetland Day. So it will cover wetlands include all lakes, rivers, underground aquifers, swamp and marshes and grasslands, peatland, oceans, everything. The next one is the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP or UN Environment. The UNEP is the agency of United Nations. It coordinates the UN's environmental activity. It assists developing countries in implementing environmentally sound policies and practices. It was founded as a result of United Nations Conference on Human Environment 1972. It has a overall responsibility for environmental problems among United Nations agencies. The UNEP has registered several successes such as an 1987 Montreal Protocol and 2012 Minamata Convention and treaty to limit toxic mercury. Also, UNEP has sponsored the development of solar loan programs. The solar loan program sponsored by UN Environment helps finance solar power system in India. The next one is the cities. It is called as Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. It is an international agreement between governments. The aim of this agreement to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. India became a party to Cities Convention in 1976. It is a multilateral treaty to protect endangered plants and animals. About 5,000 species of animals and 29,000 species of plants are protected by cities against over exploitation through international trade. The next one is the Chemical Weapon Convention, CWC, a multilateral treaty that bans chemical weapons and require their destruction within a specified period of time. The CWC is formally known as the Convention of Prohibition of the Development, Production, Stockpiling, and Use of Chemical Weapons and their destruction. CWC prohibit the development, production, stockpiling, and use of chemical weapons. Also, the destruction of both chemical weapons and even production facility and the weapons themselves. Also, the declaration of a post-chemical weapon program. Also, it is deals the destruction of chemical weapon and the associated facilities. Now we'll move on to the National Action Plan on Climate Changes. The National Action Plan on Climate Changes was released on 30th June 2008. It outlines a national set strategy that aims to enable the country to adapt a climate changes and enhance the ecological sustainability of India's development path. It stresses that maintaining a high growth rate is essential for increasing living standards of vast majority of people and reducing their vulnerability to the impact of the climate changes. There are 8 national missions which form the core of national action plan. They focus on the promoting understanding of climate change, adaptation and mitigation, energy efficiency, and natural resource conservation. The first number one is the National Solar Mission, and number two is the National Mission on enhanced energy efficiency. Number three, National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. Number four, National Water Mission. Number five, National Mission on Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. Number six, a National Mission for Green India. Number seven, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. number 8, National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Changes. The main principle of NAPCC are protecting the poor through the inclusive and sustainable development strategy sensitive to the climate change. Also, achieving a national growth and poverty relief objectives while ensuring ecological sustainability. Also, it is ensuring the efficient and cost effective strategies for end use demand side management. Also, the extensive and accelerated deployment of appropriate technologies for adaptation and mitigation. New and innovative market regularity and voluntary mechanism for sustainable development. Effective implementation through unique linkages with the civil society, LGU, and public-private partnership. Okay. Number one, a national solar mission. The National Solar Mission launches in January 2010 with the objective of establishing India as a global leader in solar energy by creating the policy conditions for solar technology diffusion across the country as quick as possible. The number two is the National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency. This mission aims to strengthen the market for energy efficiency by creating favorable regularity and policy administration and has predicted development, innovating and sustainable business model to the energy efficiency sector. The mission is implemented since 2011, consists of four innovative and enhanced energy efficiency in energy intensive industries. So preform, achieve and trade, a market transformation for energy efficiency financing platform and framework for energy efficiency economic development. The next one is the National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. The National Mission on Sustainable Habitat was approved by the Prime Minister Council for Climate Changes in June 2010. The key deliverables of missions are a development of sustainable habitat standards that leads to the healthy development strategies while simultaneously addressing climate changes and related concerns. Also, the preparation of city development plan that comprehensively address adaptation and mitigation concerns. The preparation of comprehensive mobility plans that enable city to undertake a long-term energy efficient and cost-effective transport planning. Also, it's include the capacity building for undertaking the activities related to the mission. The fourth one is the National Water Mission. The National Water Mission will ensure integrated water resource management, helping to conserve water, minimize wastage, and ensure more equitable distribution both across and within states. The National Water Mission has identified five major goals such as comprehensive water data bases in public domain and assessment of impact of climate changes on water resource. Next one is the promotion of citizen and state action for water conservation, accommodation and preservation. The third one is the focused attention to vulnerable areas, including over exploited areas. The fourth one, increasing water use efficiency by 20%. The last and fifth one, a promotion of basin level integrated water resource management. The fifth mission is National Mission for sustaining the Himalayan ecosystem. This particular mission set the goal to prevent a melting of Himalayan glaciers and to protect a biodiversity in Himalayan region. The Himalayan ecosystem as a national mission will focus on the rapid generation of four type of national capacities which deal with the mission attempts to the address some important issue concerning number one, Himalayan glaciers and associated hydrological consequences. Number two, biodiversity conservation and protection. Number three, wildlife conservation and protection. Number four, traditional knowledges, societies and their livelihood and planning for sustaining the Himalayan ecosystem. The sixth mission is the National Mission for Green India. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approved the proposal of a Ministry of Environment and Forest for a national mission for a Green India as a centrally sponsored scheme. The Green India mission puts a greening the contest of a climate changes adaptation and mitigation. The mission aims at the responding to the climate changes by combination of adaptation and mitigation measures which would help enhancing carbon sinks in sustainably managed forest and other ecosystem, adaptation of a vulnerable species ecosystem to the changing climate, and adaptation of forest dependent communities. Okay, we'll move on to the seventh mission, a national mission for a sustainable agriculture. The National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture has been made operational from the year 2014 and 15. This making agriculture a more productive, sustainable, money making, and climate resilient by promoting location specific integrated composite farming system, soil and moisture conservation measures, and comprehensive soil health management. So it will lead the efficient water management practice and maintaining the rainfed technologies. So this mission divided into two. Number one is the farm water management. Number two is the soil health management. The last mission is the National Mission on Strategic Knowledge and Climate Changes. The National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Changes seeks to build a vibrant and dynamic knowledge system that would inform and support a national action for responding effectively to the objective of ecological sustainable development. At least 10 thematic knowledge network with a critical mass and strategy strength in the area of climate science, science and technology, capacity building, regional climate modeling, adaptation strategies in agriculture, water resource management, and other socio-economic sectors. Also, it includes the global technology precaution and regional emission the optimal mix of energy related technologies, agro biotechnologies for the different agroclimatic zone related to the Indian subcontinent. Okay, class. I think okay. Next class we will deal with the environmental legislation in India, such as the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, Forest Act 1980, 1992, Amendment in Forest Act, the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, the Environmental Protection Act 1986, Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006. Everything we will look for next class. Okay. Any questions? If you have any question, just ask me. I will give the answer. Okay. Thank you. We'll meet on next class. Thank you so much.